What is going on, guys? I'm Pete and welcome to Retro Game Attic. So recently I picked up this cheap CRT TV next to me for only 10 bucks. Now I wasn't in the market for another CRT, but for that price I just couldn't pass it up. So it did get me thinking, now that I have two of these set up down here, maybe I can split the signal from my game console to both of them. So in this video I'll show you how to do just that. I'll go over the equipment that you need and do a little brief overview of both of these CRTs. Luckily the process is super simple to accomplish and pretty much anybody can do it. So with all that out of the way, let's get into it. So I'll start off with my Trinitron here. Now if you're a fan of this channel, you're pretty familiar with this TV. This is the Sony Trinitron KV20FV12. Now this is a 20-inch flat screen CRT TV. It features RF, composite with stereo audio, and S-video, so it is a great all-around retro gaming TV. I actually got this one for free years ago off of Craigslist, and I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. And here is the cheap TV that we got recently. This is a Daewoo DTQ14U5SC. It is a 14-inch flat screen CRT TV as well. It only features RF and composite with mono audio, so it's not the most ideal for retro gaming. But like I said before, for 10 bucks, I just couldn't pass this thing up. It's a solid little TV. So now that we're a little more familiar with these CRT TVs, I'm going to unplug the game console and I'll show you how to split the signal from the console to both of these TVs. Okay, so this is everything we need right here. We have our composite cables from our game console. I'm going to use a Nintendo Wii here. And we're going to need 3 composite splitters. And as the name implies, these literally split the audio or video signal. And then from here we're going to need 2 sets of double-sided male AV cables. Now the higher quality the better. You can see these ones are gold plated right here and the cable thickness is pretty thick. These ones are good. These are cheapies. They're not really ideal, but that's all that I have right now and that's what I'm going to work with. So in order to set this up, all you have to do is connect those splitters to your game console component cables. And we'll attach those very quickly right here. Make sure they're snug. And it should look like this. And then from there, on the male double-sided composite cables, you connect one of the ends to the corresponding color on the splitter. So we can see here, yellow to yellow, red to red, and white to white. And then same thing with the other set. So yellow to yellow, red to red, and white to white. So your setup should look something like this. And like I said before, it's as simple as that. So let's get this hooked up to the game console and then hook these up to the corresponding TVs and see how it goes. Alright, so we are back at our TV setup. So what I'm going to do first is connect the game console composite cable. I'm going to remove the rubber band I had on there just to keep everything neat before. We don't really need it at the moment. So we'll connect that to the game console. And then for the splitters, I'm going to use gray to the Trinitron, and then the cheap cables will go to the Daewoo. It'll be very fitting. We'll connect these to the back of the Trinitron. All right, we should be good there. And then cheap cables to the Daewoo. And given that this TV only has mono audio, we're only going to need the yellow for video and then white for the mono audio. We don't need the red. So yellow to yellow, white to white. And there it is. It's as simple as that. I'll connect the power cable and the sensor bar back up to the Wii. I'll turn everything around and we'll power these puppies up. Okay, now that we have everything turned around here, we have both TVs powered on. Everything's connected properly, so all we have to do is just hold down the button on the Wii remote and see what happens. There we go. As you can see, both TVs are synced up pretty well. Really no differentiation there. I have the sensor bar on top of the Trinitron just because I use that as my main rig. But overall, this looks pretty good. I have to say the flat screen CRTs side by side really do complement each other. So I have a bunch of emulators loaded on here. We'll try some Super Nintendo games and see how they look. Alright, so we loaded up Contra 3. You can kind of see the Daewoo, the screen setting is a little bit brighter. I haven't really messed around on the settings on these to kind of sync them up. I'm sure I could do a better job. You can kind of see that the color is kind of off in between the two. But you can see they're both running concurrently really well. There's no lag or kind of any noticeable differentiation. Now obviously the Trinitron is going to be the superior TV here, and I have to say that little Daewoo is holding its own, especially for a cheap $10 TV. I mean, any CRT for less than like 50 bucks in the modern modern era is definitely one to snag. And as you can see, I'm pretty rusty. I'm not playing super well, but overall it looks pretty good. Let's load up an NES game or two and see how it looks. And we'll try Bonk's Adventure. Again, you can kind of see the colors off between the two, and the brightness is a little too high on the Daewoo in my opinion. But yeah, it seems to be working out pretty well. It color me impressed. This actually looks really cool. And Bonk's Adventure is a super fun game. It's a shame that it's so expensive now. But enough with Bonk, let's try a Sega Genesis game. Alright, we'll try Alien Soldier. And again, as with the NES and SNES emulators, this actually looks really good. Enough with the ROMs though, let's pop in a Wii game and see how that looks on there. Alright, so we are at the title screen. We'll try a quick game here. I definitely need to adjust the color on that Daewoo TV. The weird saturation is much more apparent with a Wii game than it is with like an old school ROM, but overall they look great together. Now I can mess around a little bit more and try different consoles, but for the intents and purposes of this video, I just wanted to show them on the Wii, and I'm pretty satisfied with the results here. So there it is, that was splitting composite signals to 2 CRTs. Like I said, it's a super easy process. You're going to have some equipment obviously offhand. You're going to need the 2 TVs and a game console, but the cables and the splitters themselves are super cheap off of Amazon. You can get the splitters and those cables for less than 20 bucks off of Amazon, so I'll throw a link to those in the description in case anybody's interested. The real question is now, what do I do with this little Daewoo CRT? Do I keep it as kind of like a B squad? Do I keep this setup going? I actually have a 27-inch curved Sony Trinitron that I'd love to do in a split CRT setup. Now it does render this little Daewoo kind of useless unless I do a 3 CRT TV setup, which I'm not opposed to. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to let me know what you think, and definitely give me some advice as to what I should do with that little Daewoo. I don't know, I kind of like it. As always, thank you all so much for watching Retro Game Attic. I really do appreciate you all. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you on the next one.